Okay, mic check. Coffee here. We ready. What is going on, fam? Welcome back to another episode of Grind to Grow. Happy Friday. Hope you had a wonderful week. Remember to stay productive, to stay busy, to stay humbled, to be thankful, smile. Don't forget to work out. So I asked my clients to give me topics to talk on the podcast. And my client, Gay Riley, who was kind of sick right now, gave me this topic, which is the importance of setting goals, micro goals and macro goals. So when I first heard it, I thought she was talking about food, and I think that's because I'm always hungry and I'm always thinking of food or coffee. But she was talking about a particular conversation that we had earlier that week about a ultra runner who does the specific things before race day, on race day, the kind of shoes that she wears, the sunglasses, the gear, what she eats, like all this specific things that she has been able to find out during her, time of running and competing, that works really well and allows her to perform better. So, first of all, why is it important to set goals? Well, it's important because it gives you something to, aim at, to chase for. You can have a plan, set a plan, or have somebody help you set a plan so you can follow it every day, every week, every month. Set attainable goals, of course, that can be done in a shorter term. And then, of course, your long-term goals, like the big one. And I'm going to use her as an example. Let's say it's to run a 30K. So those are your goals. And some people come in to train or to work out, especially as beginners, with not a real specific idea of what they want to accomplish. They just know they need to move. They've never done it. They just say, I don't know. I just need to move because I was told to. And or I want to try it. And later on, as time goes on, my job is to help them figure out specific goals. Okay, let's aim for losing 10 pounds. Let's aim at this PR. You're doing really well with, dumbbells. Let's jump to kettlebells. Let's do, 3-4 times a week now training. You're doing a lot of walking on your own. Let's sign up for a 5K and I'll do it with you. And that seems to keep them motivated. And because they start to see the process and feel better, they're coming more, then that challenge gives them the push and that drive to keep coming back. So those are your goals. Now let's look at macro goals. Macro goals are the things or steps, let's call it, that you cannot neglect, that you must do in order to show and perform. Again, I'm going to use my client as a runner as an example. So let's say that she has to run a 30-miler. So she has 16 weeks, 20 weeks to prepare. So she's going to break down those 30 miles, and every week she has to run a set amount. And of course, every week the amount of miles is going to increase, especially on that long run. So in order for her to sustain that volume is going to continue to increase, she has to strengthen her body. So you have to train at least 2 to 3 times a week, and everybody's going to be different on focus on training. You do want to do your compound movements, deadlift, squats, weighted lunges, and overhead movements, rows and stuff like that, to make sure that we cover the big, larger muscles. But then, we look at specific things that need to be need to be worked on to make sure that she can go back out there and run every single day, or almost every single day. Then when she goes home, she has to work on her maintenance. That could be mobility, that could be yoga, that could be seeing a massage therapist that focuses or works with athletes, acupuncture, dry needling, chiropractor. Maybe it's, Theragun, or maybe it's, jumping the pool, doing some laps, because, running, walking, being on your feet, that's a lot of impact. So including the pool work, it's really great on the joints. And then she has to make sure that she eats enough to sustain this amount of training and running. Hydration, super important. Sleep, very, very important. So those are your main things that, okay, I must do this so I can, continue running, and so I can show off on said day and perform. Now, if this is gonna be your first time doing that sort of thing, especially those long ultra runs, then you might not complete it, or you might not have the outcome that you want, and that's okay, because you can use that as a learning experience, so you can go back and fill the gaps, or fill the work on the things that you notice were hard on race day. And your job is to pay attention to everything that you're doing, from your energy level, if anything hurt or started aching, joints wise, especially like ankles, knees, and hips. And then you go back to your process, to your training, to what you did, and you break down everything, and those are gonna be your micro goals, from how your running is going, to training, to nutrition, to sleep, to hydration, to the kind of shoes that you wear, to your entire gear that you use, the kind of sunglasses, maybe it's a headband or it's a hat, maybe it's some people, most of us listen to music. I know I do when I'm running or even working out. Maybe you listen to a set song, and that song just kind of gave you that that boost of that push that you needed because you were slowing down. So you have to pay attention to all these little things that you notice that did not work in that work, and you have to implement that into your training, and so you can start filling up those gaps. And I use this term a lot with my clients who compete and do all this sort of competition. Because for the most part they do what they're supposed to, between the training, the nutrition, the recovery. And I have several, like Gay, who are extremely devoted and motivated to continue pushing themselves and to do this amazing, crazy long events. And it takes a lot of discipline, because now before you had 5 things to work at and to focus. Now you have, out of those 5, each one has another 5 or maybe 10 or maybe 20 that you now have to also do. And you can, and if you do it, there is a possibility for you to have better performance, a better outcome. And that all it's going to be depending on your goal or what you want the outcome to be or the result to be. And of course, we always want to do better. Maybe it is having a faster time. Maybe it's, doing the same length race, but in a different altitude, state, terrain. And of course, because you're doing this outside, you're not in control of the weather. It could be raining at the start, dry at the end. It could, you could deal with different altitudes, different elevations, different terrains. And you may not be prepared for it. So again, you take that as a lesson And so whenever you're preparing for the next one, you have to keep that in mind. Like, okay, I could come across this. What am I gonna do? This could happen. What am I gonna do? If something starts to cramp, okay, what's happening? All right. Oh, it did. I ended up started cramping up at mile 12. Well, I need to start hydrating sooner, or I need to set up my watch, and every 30 minutes, every time it beeps or it buzzes, okay, I have to drink this much water. I need to eat this much food at this set miles so I can sustain it. And again, you start to get in detail of what you need to do to be more efficient, to have a better outcome, perform better. And then, who knows, you might have somebody and come across somebody who will ask you those questions like, hey, I noticed that you're doing all this, and I've seen you do all these races. What are you doing? And of course, they'll ask you, like, what's your motivation? Why are you doing it? This is crazy. This is like so long. How do you have time to train, to run this many miles every single week? How do you do it? And, that's an opportunity for you to tell them, well, I have a thing called discipline, and I set myself to do this, and no matter what happens, I'm gonna do it. I have a plan, I have a program, I have somebody who does my training, I have, my significant other or a friend that I train with, and then we go on runs, and there is accountability, there is all this moving parts that are part of the process that we need as athletes, as coaches, so we can perform. So for those of you out there who are gonna do something like this, or training to do something like this, or you've done something like this, and it wasn't as successful as you thought it was gonna be, look for those gaps, look for those holes, pay attention to your training, to your performance, pay attention to every single little detail that happens day in and day out, and start to fill out those gaps. It could be your training, it could be nutrition, which is a huge part of performance. It could be your sleep. Maybe you're not recovering or doing enough maintenance to recover to do it again the next day. So pay attention. If you don't know, ask questions, find somebody that does, find somebody who has the experience and knowledge, and who has done this, whether it's a coach or a current athlete, because they'll be able to give you some pointers. And you're not should not do exactly the same thing that they're doing, but you can take stuff from them, from their training, from their experience, and apply it to your own. Once again, fam, thank you for taking the time to watch this. If this was useful information, please comment below. Don't forget to like it and subscribe. And if you need some help, some guidance, some motivation on any sort of training, and you got something coming up and you don't know how to train, or you need help setting up goals, or you don't have the motivation or the discipline to show up, please give me a call. I'll help you. Peace.